Hey guys, LootWizard here with another Soulforge video. On this one, I'm going to try to go through it quickly because I do have a doctor's appointment in like less than an hour, so I'm going to have to go through this a little quick. But let's get right into it. That being said, we don't want that offer. Let's go to the Soulforge, see what's in here. It's a new week. We have new events, all that stuff. I saw something about a Tower of Doom event, so that's good. Doom Breaker. This is one of those heavy splash damage weapons. It stuns green enemies, cleanse green allies, explode. These can be pretty good in certain situations, but I don't think it's worth the 800 diamonds. I would go into the event, and we'll do that ourselves later on in the video, where we go into the shop and we buy with gems. We'll purchase that weapon with gems. Looking here, we have Flesh Ripper, which is an interesting weapon. It's not as good as some of the other eliminate all armor weapons, but what I always say is that any weapon that eliminates all armor on an enemy is going to be an okay weapon. This one does that. It also deals damage boosted by the armor eliminated. Boost ratio is a third, so you'll have a third of the armor converted to damage. Then we have Norbert's Turn Up. Now, this weapon right here, if you don't have this weapon yet, I do consider it to be one of the best mana generating weapons that are in this style. What I mean by that is that you'll have these weapons that will generate mana according to how many allies you have of a certain type. This is goblins, and goblins are really powerful. We have King Gobtraffle, you have what is that other one? The fiddler that silences and explodes. There's a lot of good goblin troops that you can use in a team, and this weapon right here is fantastic for that. So it's one of the better ones for that reason. So you might want to pick that up. It's only 300 diamonds, not too expensive. So yeah, if you don't have that yet and you like to use goblin troops, that might be a good option for you. Moving on to troops, let's take a look at our summoning stones here. For blue summoning stones, I remember there was an old build that I used to do for the Doom weapons for Explore battles with this Princess Elspeth here, but I don't ever really use it anymore, so I'm not going to recommend that. We'll go to green, and we have red. Nothing there. Yellow, purple. The only one here in purple I see, this one right here is worth having, but I don't think it's like a game-breaking troop, but it is one of these empowered troops. It starts with full mana, and it is going to generate mana for you. It converts yellow gems to green. It webs and poisons the weakest enemy. Looking at brown. It's almost a joke to have Luther in here, because Luther is like literally the first troop that you get in the game. So, all right. So the other one out of that would be that one I mentioned here, Melcandessa. I'm saying that correctly. I have no idea. So we're moving on to legendaries and mythic troops here. We have Garnock, we have Hydra, we have Chief Stronghorn, and Divinia. And without a question, Divinia is number one for legendary troops. It's actually one of the handful of legendaries that I actually do recommend crafting if you don't have it. Otherwise, I don't really recommend crafting legendaries. But Divinia is definitely one. And even at lower levels, Divinia is an awesome mana generator because of this fact right here. It explodes all red gems. It doesn't have to rely on magic in order to explode, because a lot of the other exploding troops will just explode like a certain number according to your current magic value. And when you're a low level player, that's going to be very low, so it'll explode maybe like 3 or 4 or 5 gems, and it's not really that big of a deal. But Divinia, at any level in the game, it's always going to explode all red gems on the board, and that is also a really good troop to use if you have a firestorm going. Now, looking at the mythics here, we do have Plague, we have Elamagrum, and we have Voice of Orpheus, and then we have Shabanu Vespera. So really quickly here, let me think about this. I think I'm going to say that actually Shabanu Vespera is number one to craft this week. Even though Elamagrum does do damage, and it creates some gems. It also has this good thing, but I think it's going to be second place for me. Simply because Shibanu Vespera is amazing in certain team combinations. You can really, really get your skill power up there, and it's really amazing actually for different events, because when you get the potion of enchantment and explosion and all that, you can power it up much quicker than you can in a normal like PvP setting. So I'm going to go with Shibanu Vespera as the #1 mythic this week. Elamagrum is going to be second. And then I'm actually going to say Voice of Orpheus is third, and then Plague is in last place. Plague just really isn't that amazing. It eliminates 23 skill points of a random skill from all enemies, disease, and poison them. So, I mean, it's not that amazing. So that's the order in which I would place those guys. So moving on here to the shop, let's collect our resources. Spoils of War, and we'll check out the new troop. And that troop is called the Rogueling. And this Rogueling is worth 300 glory. You get 1 Arcane Venom trait stone. So if you do have troops or classes that will get powered up because of this Arcane Venom trait stone, now is the time to do it. Get a bunch of those. This troop deals 29 damage to 2 random enemies boosted by green allies. Gain an extra turn. So it is a goblin, and gain an extra turn is kind of the goblin thing. But it probably won't be that amazing. But, you know, it'll be an okay goblin troop. Pretty much, I don't know. There's probably a couple of goblin troops that are bad. But from my experience, there really is no... Like, every time I come across goblin troops, they're pretty much useful in some way, or at least annoying to fight against. So that's what's going on with that. The event kingdom this week is Zyjin, which makes sense since that was a goblin troop, and this is the goblin kingdom. So now would be the time to get the almighty Iron Gut. If you're going after, if we go into troops and we click on the kingdom here and we go to Zyjin, Zyjin, not Zolkari, Zyjin here. Let's do it by rarity. I'm pretty sure I have all the troops, but we'll just do that. So, you cannot get King Gobtroffel from the event keys. That is an underworld troop, but what you can get is the High King Iron Gut, which is a mythic troop, and it's one of the best mythic troops in the game because it gives you a guaranteed devour chance if its attack value is 100. Now, of course, there are troops that are immune to devour, but if it's not, you will have a 100% chance when that attack gets to 100. So it's very, very useful for delves, events, all sorts of good things. But no Bend Brothers, Princess Fizzbang, even Turtle Cannon is pretty good. Toad Squeezer you can get. String Fiddler is really good. Goblin Rocket is still useful. Goblin Shaman is still okay in teams. Like, you know, there's a good decent amount of these troops here that are good in this kingdom. So event keys gives you a chance this week for those goblin troops. Alright, so moving on from all of that stuff, let's go and take a look at the events going on. We have just the Tower of Doom, it looks like. And that's this week. Nothing else. That's kind of refreshing, actually, because I've been struggling to even get time in to do, you know, the 2 or 3. Sometimes I think there's been like 3 events going on. Well, and then with the campaign, that's another whole thing that you have to do, which I pretty much abandoned the campaign. Not even thinking about it. I just stopped doing the tasks. I don't have the time or the motivation to do it. So anyway, let's go to the shop here. This is the weapon that we were talking about earlier, and it looks like it's only going to cost us 100, 250, 500 gems. 500 gems is easier to recoup than the 300 or 800 diamonds, whatever it costs in the Soulforge. So I would recommend buying up to at least the weapon if you can afford it. I know if you're very new in the game, 500 gems is going to be a lot for you. And that might be a deal breaker. But if you're, you know, if you play the game pretty consistently and you're in a good guild, you're going to get quite a few gems weekly, and you should be able to afford the 500 for this. Yeah, we're going to figure out kind of a team that we can use, I guess, for this. It's going to be Green Day. green color. And I'm just going to go in here and we'll kind of team brainstorm a little bit, but let's go to that weapon. And I want to check that weapon out because sometimes there's like a hidden trait in the upgrades that makes it really fantastic. And you do need special currency for this, these Forge Scrolls, and that's why doing the Tower of Doom, you're going to be getting these green Forge Scrolls, and that allows you to upgrade the tempering level of your Doom weapons. So it looks like this poisons the first enemy. It creates a Leaf Storm, which is going to generate more green mana, and then it drains 2 mana from green enemies. So nothing fantastic. I'm not like blown away by anything here, but we do kind of have a lack of Leaf Storms in the game. That's like the one storm that they haven't given us a class or a troop that's going to start a Leaf Storm every single turn. I've been waiting for it for a long time, and they just don't release one. I don't know why they don't. It's strange to me. Anyway, we don't have to use that weapon. We can use any green weapon that we want, which means you can use Jar of Eyes, which is a good weapon. Of course, there's Nimbus Bow, if that works with any kind of Guardians. There's Trickster Shot, which is also very good for probably high levels. You know, if you throw in Trickster Shot, that's probably a good thing. But if you don't have that, you know, it's going to be a little tricky this time around because I don't see a lot of other great weapons that are just like, you know, generic that you can get really easy for this event. So it's going to be a little tricky in that sense. But if you have been around a while and you picked up a few, well, probably the best one here that I can see that you can get by just doing 250 victories for the Plague Lord class is the Essence of Evil weapon. That's probably going to be your most generic, like general weapon that everybody could have access to. Otherwise, you could use Doomglaive. Probably like a really good team. If you do have Doomglaive, I mean, it'll work with Essence of Evil, but if you got like something like this and for troops, I don't know if we are restricted to just goblins, but if we are, no, we're not. So, okay. Well, there's lots of different teams that we could do, but I think like Gobtraffle team is probably going to be like, you know, and you can put the Fiddler in here. You can put the Fiddler at the top, and you can put the Glaive down here at the bottom. And you can put 2 Gobtraffles there, String Fiddler. Select a class. We could do a Goblin class, but it's like, you know, when you got the Potion of Explosion enchantment, and if you got your class at the bottom, class doesn't really matter too much. Other than like thinking about things like if you have what is it called? The Lightning Strike. Lightning Strike is something that I find to be useful for generating more mana. But for me, you know, I'm just kind of trying to level up the Priest class. Honestly, I've been trying to force myself to use that whenever I can, whenever it doesn't really matter in a team. So we're going to just select that. I think I'm going to go double green, purple. The only sad thing is that we don't have anything that has brown in it, which the Gobtraffle is going to be creating some brown gems. So if we go back to troops, we look, the only good goblin really have here, I guess, that is brown. I mean, Brian the Lucky, I don't know what he even does. Not that useful. Bugbear, little damage, but Goblin King, maybe. You wanted to put him in there. But other than that, I don't know. We'll just check this team out. It's going to be super easy because the life is really low on these troops. Yeah. Let's just go ahead and select green. We're going to get everything. Well, that's a good thing about the Fiddler, too, though, is that it offers mana generation, but it also silences enemies. So like that right there, it's going to shut that thing down, and then we can do this. So I don't know. This is probably a team that I would go with for a little while. And if you really wanted some kind of like good protection, you could just put the Fiddler, you know, at the bottom, or put him here or something. And for your class, like I'm using Priest, but you could use one of the Rune Priest, Sentinel, or Titan class, any of those classes that have the Rock Solid talent. And every time you match brown gems, which is going to happen with the King Gobtroffle, because it's creating brown, then you're going to get that barrier, and that will protect your hero class. So if you do something like that, you know, that will definitely help you survive those battles once you get at higher levels. So, I don't know. There's probably a lot of other good teams that you could use. This is just something that, on the spur of the moment here, that I came up with. So, hopefully that gives you guys some ideas. I don't know. But King Gobtroffle is pretty common troop at this point in the game. Like, most people, I think, already have that. So that's what I would probably what I'm going to use until it doesn't work anymore. But with the 2 King Gobtroffles, you're going to have looping potential. So it'll probably work all the way up to high levels. So what else can I talk about here? Well, not much really going on here. There is the Goblin class, though, the Thief class, which is a Goblin class coming up later this week. And if you don't have that powered up, they might want to consider, you know, working on that, because that is a good class. That class has the Skeleton Key that unlocks for you, which is a really great weapon. As far as the campaign finished, and I didn't finish it, so a new one is coming in a week from now. And that's just, I don't know. I'll have to wait and see what the rewards are for the next one. If they're a lot better than the rewards for the last one, I might consider trying to do it. But honestly, I don't have too much high expectations for the rewards to change on these campaigns. Anyway, that's my Soulforge video for today. Like I said, I was going to try to go through it a little quicker, and we ended up at about 15-16 minutes here. So that's what it is for today. It's all I got for you guys. I love you, and thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Later.